It's a Saturday, and I want to have some fun on the internet today. It's a day where it's right before the Super Bowl, so there's not a lot of news going around. But the big news of the week, of course, was Tucker Carlson's interview with Vladimir Putin. Now, this isn't really a political channel. Of course, you guys do know my politics because it, crosses over with the culture war and all that. So I don't usually cover things that are directly involved with politics or Russia or elections or things like that, unless it pertains to comics or movies or something some stupid celebrity said most of the time. But I watched the interview. I thought it was pretty amazing. It was two men literally having just a good talk together. You could tell Vladimir Putin really knows his history and is really scholared, which is, different than we get presented in the American media. Whenever we see presidents talk, it's always like these little sound bits and things like that. Doesn't really give us any clue as to whether the person's even mentally competent, like our current president. And of course, this has spurred a bunch of memes on the internet, which is a lot of fun. And so some of it's pertaining to fantasy fiction and science fiction, which is kind of my wheelhouse. And I enjoyed these. So I'm going to show you guys some of the best ones that I saw over the course of the last few days that are pretty funny. Now, the first one I saw, I reposted myself, which I thought was quite amusing. It was just a direct sort of deal about the interview and the memes, and we're going to react to these and have some fun with it real quick. So hit the like and subscribe button, and gosh, this is kind of different content. Let me know if you like this, because I usually just, cover topical news stuff, and this is a little different. I like memes. I'm a big meme fan. So here's the first one I saw. Mr. Putin, why did you invade Ukraine? And this directly references his sort of commentary there when he was going back to like 800 AD to talk about like the Russian geopolitical situation back then. So he goes, 4 billion years ago, the Earth was in its cooling phase. And I thought that was pretty funny when it first came out. Naturally, this was like one of the original incarnations of the meme because it was so direct, it just like went on to it. And then it started to be like drift a little further into different topics as people like related them to their own hobbies. And this is where it gets a lot of fun. This is a good one. I enjoyed this right away too. Wife, why did you like this girl's half-naked selfie? In 882 Brooks. Pretty good right here. I enjoyed this one quite a bit. Now we get into Star Wars as we talk about this. And of course, naturally, Star Wars got related. And of course, this is Tucker interviewing Jabba the Hutt. Okay, so why carbonite? Why not just take him out completely? What's the thinking behind that? Chopa so ripa solo, sa tu suka ng. Oh, ho, 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 ho. That's my Jabba impression. You can let me know about that if I did a good job too. But there's a lot of stuff like this. And then it gets into stuff that gets really interesting right here. So this is kind of like, you get your like basic normie tier meme, and then you start to get into the nerd memes, right? And now we get into like the deep lore. And so this is where somebody from starts talking about Warhammer 40K right here. And this one's going viral a little bit. President Putin, where should I start with the Warhammer 40K books? Now, if you're not a Warhammer 40K fan, it is a game which is, people have their army figures and they're fighting with space marines and the like. And there's this huge lore behind it. They've developed books upon books upon books. They've actually got a great little leather-bound book collection, which are super expensive and hard to find, but I digress. I'm not going to get into that right now. But it's difficult to kind of know where to start because there are so many. And so, Tucker, that's a great question. Many people begin with the Horus heresy, but ... 6 hours later. And that's why Caiaphas Cain had the respect of the Adeptus Astartes. Really funny. Horus Heresy is a good spot to start if you are interested in checking those out. Those are wonderful books at the end of the day. And actually anything by Dan Abnett is a wonderful book in those series too. They're usually pretty standalone for the most part. But here's the cake, the winner, the one that took everything. I thought it was Razor Fist, who's talking about this and relating it to fantasy fiction. Now, Razor Fist, of course, loves to talk about old pulp and fantasy fiction. That's kind of what he does and why his channel is awesome. He has like in-depth perspectives of it that a lot of people don't. I really enjoy his takes. And he, of course, made a meme about this as well. Putin, I would like to discuss the origins of fantasy fiction. Tucker, you mean when Frodo and Sam took the... No, we will begin between the time when the oceans drank Atlantis in the land of Samaria in the age undreamed of. So that's a reference to Conan, of course. And so, yes, Lord of the Rings is early fantasy, of course, that people recognize, which, of course, came out originally in the 1940s, and Tolkien had been working on it for a long time before that. But Robert E. Howard started working on Conan, the awesome fantasy, his short stories, which the originals are amazing if you've not read those. I highly recommend it, in the late 20s and then into the early 30s. 30s. And so it preceded that. And so did a lot of Edgar Rice Burroughs stuff. There was a bunch of different fantasy other than this out there too. It's really good stuff to discover. If you've not checked out the stuff from the 20s, the 30s when it comes to fantasy, highly recommend it because, that's where our culture came from. It's better than, there's no woke stuff at all, and it's just fantastic. All right, these are some great memes, and I really appreciate you guys being there. Hope you enjoyed them. Leave a comment down below with what you think. Which one was your favorite? Hit the like and subscribe button. We'll be back soon.